Right. So, shall we start or
Yeah, I think we can make a start now.
bear with me? Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I think we're just gonna make a start, and I'm sure people will start joining us as we go along. Good evening, everyone. My name is Majida Mekude. I'm the head of education at Muslim Council for Britain. And this evening we've got Jane Higgins from, sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm letting people in as I'm speaking as well. So you might not see my face. Sorry about that. So I was just saying, we've got Jane Higgins, Senior Program Manager from National Tutoring Program, which is an agency for the government, for Departments for Education. And James will be talking to us about National Tutoring Program, how they've been working on it, on children that are affected, children that are impacted by COVID. And basically, I know she'll be shedding some light on the overview of the program and how our community can tap into it. And Jane has got our colleagues with her as well. I'm going to let Jane introduce our colleague after a while, but I'd just like to say there will be opportunity for question and answer at the end of Jane's presentation. So if anybody have got any question and answer, please wait until the end of the presentation and we'll accommodate any question. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jane.
Okay, thank you, Majida. And just while I'm sharing my screen, I'd like to thank you for inviting us here at the National Tutoring Programme to present to you all. And I'm just sharing the screen now. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, thank you. So to just introduce myself and some of my colleagues that are joining me here. I'm Jane Higgins. I'm one of the senior engagement management team on the programme. And I'm joined with Rosie Weatherhead, also our senior engagement business manager. We have Shona Monaghan, an engagement manager, and we have Kate Brown, an engagement executive. We work across all regions of England, and so I thought it would be good to have a nice cross section of people that understand the different regional challenges on the programme with us here tonight. So the National Tutoring Programme, in essence, what it is, it's a 4-year government response programme for education, and it's looking at addressing the impact of COVID-19 on educational outcomes for pupils, and long-term look to embed a culture of tutoring within schools as part of its longer-term solution to address the attainment gap. So currently we're in year 2 of the 4-year programme. So we still have academic years 22 to 23 and 23 up until the end of August 24 as the programme currently stands. So this year on the programme and looking forward into next year, there are 3 different routes to tutoring available for all state funded schools across England from years 1 up to year 11, which includes the GCSE year. So our 3 different routes available for schools are our approved tuition partner route, where pupils can receive multiple packages of tutoring using an approved tuition partner on our programme over an academic year. Our second route to tutoring is the academic mentor route. So schools can employ trained graduates or teachers to deliver subject-specific tuition. We also have a new route that's available this year, which is our school-led tutoring route. So schools have the flexibility to determine who's best to deliver their tuition. They have more autonomy to source local tuition for their pupils. So we're going to look at each route now in a bit more depth. All of these routes need to be accessed via the school if you currently have a pupil on roll. So here's an overview. Our tuition partner and our school-led tutoring. This is open for all state-funded schools. They are eligible to apply for an approved tuition partner or for the school-led tutoring funding, which is a grant that's paid directly into the schools over 3 times in the academic year. That would have happened in October, in January, and again at the end of April, start of May of this year. Our academic mentor route, there are eligibility criteria, which I'll go into when we look into that route further. So there's information on this slide on the funding streams. Each route is subsidised at a different level for this academic year. So our tuition partners, that's subsidised at 70%. Our academic mentor route is subsidised at 95% currently. And our school-led tutoring ring-fence grant subsidy is at 75% subsidy. Now, the ratios on the bottom, looking to really embed a culture of tutoring, it is small group tutoring. And based on research that the Education Endowment Fund, or the EEF, have carried out on behalf of the Department for Education, all routes are recommended that the tutoring is delivered in cohorts of 1 to 3. That's where they've deemed the highest outcome of accelerated progress when receiving a package of tuition. However, where a school identifies that the learning experience won't be diluted, the schools can also support the NTP tutoring in cohorts of pupils of up to 1 to 6 ratio. There's also accessibility for the schools to deliver on a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2, where they've identified that there are pupils that have additional needs and would suit that more intimate environment for tutoring. So first off, we're going to take a look at our tuition partner routes. So currently on the National Tutoring Programme, we have 56 tutoring organisations who are ready to commence tutoring throughout England. So how did they become an approved tuition partner? Well, each of them had to meet high quality accreditations and standards. So they've had to evidence to us here at the NTP high quality with regards to compliance, safeguarding, quality of tutoring, value for money, and also communication. So the school, if they're interested in engaging with a tuition partner, they have the control to select the right tuition partner for them, and they can actually engage with more than one tuition partner, how they see fit that each programme or subject that tuition partner can deliver is best suited for that school environment. So the tuition partners can provide targeted subject-specific support for pupils. So where a subject teacher or a subject leader within a school environment has identified pupils that they feel would really benefit, and their learning of the pupils would be accelerated through receiving a 15-hour package of tutoring, they're able to choose what subject that they would like. So for primary schools, the subjects available that a tuition partner can support in are English or numeracy, literacy or science. And for a secondary school setting, it's English, maths, humanities, science or modern foreign languages. Now, the tuition partners are able to deliver either face-to-face or online tutoring. Our expectation on the programme is that schools would look to perhaps address first their pupil premium pupils in order to engage them with a tuition partner or any of the routes that we have on the NTP, but it is open to all pupils within a state-funded school. So as an overview, our tuition partners can offer tuition that's aligned with the classroom teaching. Again, the small group tuition, there are some magic numbers on the National Tutoring Programme, and that is the 1 to 3 tutoring delivery, along with 15-hour tutoring packages. But again, as I said before, you are able to tutor in cohorts of 1 to 6 or 1 to 2 or 1 to 1, again, where you've identified pupils with these additional needs. And the tuition partner can also offer support within special schools, alternative provisions, and also virtual schools. So they can provide intensive tuition support for GCSE exam preparation, which is very current at the moment, with the first public exams taking place. And for some of the subjects, we actually know what topics are going to be within the exams. Well, a tuition partner can go into the school, work with pupils on sort of time-intensive tuition support. So that could be 3 hours a day over 5-day period. And the SATs have already started this week. So good luck if anyone has their children taking part in those. Now, this tutoring route is subsidised at 70%. So once tutoring is happening within a school setting, what will happen is the tuition partner will ask the school to authorise a timesheet via our technology platform. And once that's done, the NTP will pay the tuition partner the 70%, and the remaining 30% will be invoiced to the school by the tuition partner. And this route, one pupil can receive multiple 15 hours of tuition through this route. And that's over any academic year. Okay, so here we've got a visual, and we will share the slides with the council afterwards, and you're able to click on each regional link or scan the QR code, and then up will come a list of the tuition providers that we currently have in each region, who again are ready to support schools and pupils in that area. So that's our tuition partner route. And now moving on to the academic mentors. So academic mentor is essentially an embedded member of staff within a school setting. They are a salaried employee on a fixed term contract up until the end of the academic year. So they really do become familiar face within the school environment, which over time certainly helps to reduce barriers to learning for pupils. So again, they will focus on small group support from 1-to-1, where you've identified that's suitable for that pupil, up to cohorts of 1 to 6. But again, 1 to 3 is highly recommended. Again, the academic mentor will support pupils by providing 15-hour blocks of tutoring, and how a school can spread out those 15 hours is within their control. So if your pupils or your children are in key stage 1, lots of primary settings do look at sort of breaking that up into 20-minute, half an hour interventions that take place regularly over a school week. And it offers they can offer a range of tailored support and interventions, which include subject-specific work, revision lessons, and support outside of the school settings. So to give you an overview of how a school can access and what the subsidy is available, this route is subsidised at 95% by the National Tutoring Programme, and an academic mentor's base salary is $19,000, or for those that are QTS or are degree qualified, the salary is at $21,000. and that's over a whole academic year. So from the 1st of September of 21 up until, and that's available till the 31st of August 22. So it's a substantial subsidy available, and the school would be responsible for finding the 5% plus the on costs. Now, we do have minimum requirements of 3 A levels of A to C and a minimum of a grade 4 in English and maths at GCSE level. And very much as a programme, as we have recruitment partners that work within the NTP and work within the regions, we do very much target the programme at graduates who are looking or considering a career in education. So we're also looking at sustaining teachers within the education sector for the long term. So this does have some eligibility criteria. So schools who employed an academic mentor last year are automatically eligible for an academic mentor this year. Schools within one of the 118 LAD or opportunity areas, and these are areas that the Department for Education have defined as areas where pupils or children are unable to access a high number of outstanding or Ofsted good rated schools. We've also, or there's also eligibility for those areas that are identified in the top 50% of deprivation using the EDACI index. And again, we have an embedded link here where you can check whether or not your school of your children or pupils that you're carer for can check to see if there's eligibility. But even that also added into that is those schools where the pupil premium numbers are at over 20%. Now, even if the school doesn't qualify on the above criteria, but as a result of COVID, if the school has experienced either high rates of teacher absence, high rates of pupil absence, or consistent or prolonged school closure, there's also a strong chance for eligibility. We also encourage schools, as well as the NTP as a programme, looking to match academic mentors with a school. We do also encourage that schools make head teacher nominations. There's very often already existing staff within a school setting that are carrying out these small group mentoring, tutoring support. Okay, so as a programme, we want to ensure our quality of delivery of tutoring is of a high standard. So for our academic mentors, we have training that's facilitated through Liverpool Hope University. And for the QTS pathways, so if it's a qualified teacher that wants to be an academic mentor, it's a 1-week training course. And for the non-QTS pathway, so someone with a degree or meets the 3 A levels criteria, the non-QTS pathway is a 2-week training course. Now, this is an online, but about 40% of it is live and interactive. And it's a great place for the mentors, you know, to share learning experiences. And as a programme, we do also have an aftercare team in place that will support with CPD or, you know, any issues that the academic mentors may have, and provide support and share best practice. Okay, our third route on the National Tutoring Programme is our school-led tutoring route. Now, this route is a new route on the programme this academic year, and the Department for Education really took on board feedback from school leaders and education leaders last academic year on the programme, and it listened and it heard that schools wanted more autonomy and more flexibility with regards to sourcing their own local tutors, which can also include existing staff members. So the tutoring routes, the school-led tutoring route is a ring-fenced funding grant, and it is to be used only for school-led tutoring provision only. And again, the school-led tutoring route is very much based on the 15-hour packaging of tutoring delivered in ideally the 1 to 3 cohort, but can expand to 1 to 6 or reduce to a 1 to 1. This route is subsidised at 75% through the NTP. So what would have happened, I touched on earlier, but just to re-emphasise that every state-funded school would have received a grant in 3 increments over this academic year. So we very much want to encourage the schools to spend it. So there's different ways they can use in-house staff, either QTS or non-QTS. They're able to use teaching assistants, HLTAs or learning mentors in order to deliver this tutoring. Again, they're able to fund locally sourced tuition to add further flexibility for schools. And the schools have not had to apply for this funding. It has been paid directly into the academies or the local authority. So other members of staff or other staff that can be used is internal staff, teaching assistants or initial teacher trainees, external staff such as supply, retired or returning teachers, private tutors such as individual tutors, or you can indeed use one of our tutoring organisations, one of our approved tuition partners, and they are very well versed in what the ambition of the National Tutoring Programme is and very much understand how the school-led tutoring ring-fence funding should be spent. Again, we've got some embedded hyperlinks into the slides where it gives school-led tutoring guidance and also conditions of grants. So that can be shared with schools in whatever part of the country you're based in to give them further support and information. So again, like with the academic mentor, still on the school-led tutoring route, we very much want to be able to say that the quality of tutoring is of a high level. So we do offer training if a school is using existing staff. So again, we have a QTS pathway training for those qualified teachers, and that's a 2-hour non-compulsory but highly recommended training course. And both of these training courses on this route are delivered by the Education Development Trust. And all other members of staff there is a mandatory 11-hour training course. It's all online. It's assessed with a short multiple choice question quiz. And once a nominated tutor has started the training, they have 4 weeks to complete it. And this training is certified and recognised by the Chartered College of Teaching as a school-led tutor. And again, because there are still another 2 full academic years on the National Tutoring Programme, we are strongly recommending that schools do get their staff nominated. Okay, and here is just further information on what's involved in that training. It's all about reducing the barriers to learning and getting the highest impact out of each individual tutoring session and then as an overall programme. Okay, so that's the 3 routes to tutoring that we have available on the National Tutoring Programme. I'm not sure if any of my colleagues would like to add anything to that at this stage.
No, I think you've covered everything, Jane. Thank you.
No problem. And there's also a slide here, again, with further embedded links for each individual route, which we can share with you all. And yes, we're open to questions, whether that's from education leaders, parents and carers of pupils.
Thank you so much, Jane, for that beautiful overview of the program from the National Tutoring Program. I think the floor is open for questions from anybody from the audience. I'm just going to be looking if anyone wants to put in a question, or they can actually post a question on the chat as well. I'm going to be checking chat, but if people want to raise their hand to ask questions aloud as well. Thank you.
No problem. I've also added in some links for parents and carers. You know, this is how a parent and carer of pupils can, you know, find out if their school is engaging with the National Tutoring Programme, and just, you know, ask the question, and, you know, you can put them in touch with us if they're currently not accessing, you know, the funding that is sitting in the bank accounts that can support the pupils at school and catch up on the lost learning. The pandemic has really, you know, affected every region of the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jane. I've got two people hands raised. I'm going to call on Sister Rashida first. If you can unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Yeah. Good evening, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I think this is a very good initiative, and most of us don't actually know about it. I think I only heard about it after I started being promoted by the MCB. And so I would like to say thank you for organizing this. My question is, I want to know, can individuals approach school to actually request that maybe they want to be tutors, or because I didn't actually catch what you said about the process of involvement. How do school get involved? So can individual tutors approach school to be part of the program as a partner with them, or is it the school that have to source, you know, the tutors?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It can work either way. Oh, no, I'm not on mute. Sorry, I thought I was on mute. It can work either way, and depending on what route to tutoring that you're looking at. So our school-led tutoring route, so that was the last route. That's where the school have had funding paid into their account that they haven't had to apply for. They can source, so you could approach a school in effect if you have a tutoring background or a background in working in schools or in education, and say, are you spending your school-led tutoring funding? I am available, I can help, I can support, I'm local to your school. So again, the head teacher or the school leader can decide how to locally source their tutoring using that funding. It is the right, so it can either be a school reaching out to local tutors, or coming to us at the NTP and asking us for support to say, we don't have our existing staff, we don't have capacity to deliver, to spend the money, and then we would help them reach outside their current school setting and staffing levels. So whether that's an approved tutor, or we'd encourage them to look locally for a private tutor who can deliver on the school-led tutoring route. Academic mentors, we are always looking for academic mentors to support schools throughout the country. Our recruitment partners in the regions are constantly advertising, working tirelessly at interviewing, registering academic mentors and matching them with schools. So as a programme, we could support that. Also, from a school's point of view, a school can also give us a head teacher nomination. So if you are known already to a school or some schools in your local community, let them know that the National Tutoring Programme is here. We've got a substantial number of schools registered just from September. I think we're close to sort of 13,000 schools registered on the programme, or probably about 14,000 actually, and we're currently at probably about 8,500 schools that are currently sitting unregistered. So we work with parent communities, tutoring communities, at trying to get the word out to schools. As you know, we do try and work with schools, but this year's been very challenging. Although we're not in lockdown, schools have really struggled to stay open, in particular since Christmas. So the spring term, they've really struggled to stay open. So anything other than just day by day has been put on the back burner. But we want to get the word out there that it's a 4-year response programme. We're only in year 2. So yeah, but as a parent or carer, you can also approach your school. And I've got some embedded links on the last slide that gives you advice on how to approach a school to see if your school is using it. Is your child or able to access the National Tutoring Programme via the school? We have to engage with the school. We have to get the school to sign up in order for them to access the subsidies.
Thank you so much. That was a very comprehensive response to that question. I'd like to welcome Sister Zara. Sister Zara is the Secretary General for Muslim Council for Britain. She's actually put her hand up for question, but I didn't realize before I called Sarah Rashida. Thank you for joining me, Sister Zara. And if you want to ask a question as well, please.
It's a bit of a comment, and basically I was running a little bit late, but I really wanted to catch this. Thank you so much, Jane, for making time to share. Really, really so valuable. And I think people don't appreciate the difference that this kind of program can really make to young people. And I think Majida's been doing a really great job to highlight that for our communities, that you look mentorship, tutoring, like you don't need to just be like content with if you don't get school, then that's it, it's over. Like there's other opportunities and other pathways. Yeah. So I guess my kind of question was, what do you think has been the critical challenge to really get a bigger uptake on this program, but also what's worked really well and maybe some best practice we can take back and kind of share with our affiliates and members? This is a smaller group here, but you know, I'm always traveling around the country speaking to lots of communities, so I can take a message to them from you and really say, look, this is great, you guys should do this, you can do it. I think Rashida made that good point, like, you know, how accessible is it? And just honestly just commend you for this great work. It's really such a pleasure and privilege to have you with us today.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll be honest, it's a privilege to work on the programme. And it's, you know, it's brilliant working on the front line of it, because we speak with the school leaders. We hear, you know, the challenges for them to get on board on the programme, because they are so busy, because they are so challenged. And of every education initiative that the Department for Education are putting into schools, the National Tutoring Programme, be it over £1 billion programme, is still a tiny part, you know. So our biggest challenge has been getting the decision makers at the other end of the phone, at the other end of Zoom meetings. But what we have been doing as an engagement team for the programme, we've been really innovative. We run national drop-in sessions that wrap around the school day. So currently we're running those this week on each 3 routes to tutoring. So one each day, starting from 7:30 in the morning till 8:30, lunchtime sessions, and then 3:30 to 4:30. So to wrap around, to maximise the chances that a school decision maker or school business manager can attend. We're also doing and have rolled out a large multi-academy trust strategy, because if we can get the centralised trust team on board, because the savings the schools could make and then utilise those savings, you know, maybe in other areas of the school, in particular on the academic mentor, schools invariably, through having conversations with them, they have TAs that are carrying out this small group support. Well, we want them to access the 95% subsidy. If that's on a salary of £19,000, that's a saving over the whole of this academic year of £18,050. which is substantial, that can be spent elsewhere, you know, and they've still got that member of staff delivering that function. So it is just, that's the challenge. It is getting the schools to listen, but it's not listening. It's just the schools have been so challenged on staying open day to day. Although we're a COVID response programme in essence, the reality is schools are very much still living COVID, you know, with student attendance, with teacher absence. So that's the main challenge. The message, we've got our contact details on these slides. Please, you know, reach out to myself. Rosie, Shona's also on the call, and Kate in engagement. We're big voices within engagement and trying to, you know, spread the word to the NTP. We want it. The ambition is it gets to tutoring to as many pupils as possible across the country, you know, to close that attainment gap and give them the best opportunity. I've got children, I know, well, all four of us do, and we all had the home learning challenges. We all had, you know, our children that missed out substantial periods of time in school and, you know, on the timetable. And no matter how great we may have thought at times we were at the homeschooling, it's not the same. It's not the same experience for the pupils. So yes, please just tell them to speak with us. We do send out comms as a programme. The Department for Education obviously do send out comms as well. But again, understanding that what email might be at the top of an inbox at 8 o'clock in the morning could be 2 pages down a head teacher's inbox, you know, by the end of the day. So that's been our challenge. But once the school has been engaged, we're hearing wonderful good news stories. Really wonderful.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Jane. Really appreciate it. And
okay, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Sharing widely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. I've got a question as well, and mine is about sustaining teachers. I know you mentioned about long-term strategy. I just wondered, what are the strategy the NTP have got to sustain teachers in schools? Because as you know, there's staff shortage all across the country right now.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, for our academic mentor, which is probably the route that people would progress into initial teacher training, our advertising campaign is across social media platforms. We work with universities as well. So we're really targeting our advertising on CV Library, Read, Total Jobs, and places like that, as well as targeted regional advertising. It really is at the graduate market of those considering a career in education, or even for TAs who become academic mentors, who then go on to do their initial teacher training. So it is looking at really sustaining input into the teaching environment, as well as welcoming, you know, QTS. We've had lots of people join the programme to become an academic mentor for many different personal motivations this year. So we have had retired QTS who have spent 18 months, you know, on lockdown, as we all did, that just wanted to give something back to their community. So they've come out of retirement and they're currently working as academic mentors, which is fantastic. But again, looking at the other end, we are looking at the graduate market of those considering a career in education. And once they are academic mentors, that there is CPD support through the National Tutoring Programme for them. So we don't just place them in schools and forget about them. And there are regular webinars to share best practice and how-to ideas. And we've had an awful lot of success stories of academic mentors that started throughout this academic year, who are then going on to do their teacher training, you know, with the school starting in September. or through the Multi-Academy Trust starting in September, which is wonderful. We lose them as academic mentors, but they're going on to pursue a career in education.
Great, thank you. That's really good, comprehensive answer. I just wondered, those who are joining in from the school, those who are actually doing the teacher training from the school, are they funded or they aren't funded?
They wouldn't be funded through the National Tutoring Programme, but they would be through other government initiatives. That's by school and by agreement, and how they're doing their teacher training, and with what organisation they're doing their teacher training with.
Would it be possible to have some overview of those kind of initiative? Because I'm not sure our community are well aware of that. Maybe it's something that we can share within our community for people that actually want to go into teacher training, to know that there are initiatives to fund them to go into those kind of area.
Okay. Yeah, we can certainly look on the wider education government website for those. They did use academic mentor as a tester. If they haven't yet been experienced within a school setting, we'd welcome those people to get in touch with us. So we, as well as the government teacher training links, which is separate from the academic mentor, but very often the academic mentor route can be a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And give the person the confirmation, the affirmation that, yes, actually teaching is something I can really see me carving a career out. So it gives, it gives the school the academic mentor person, and the academic mentor also gets exposure to a school setting throughout the year. But yes, we can definitely get some information over to you on that for you to share. Sorry, Rosie, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I was only going to say that obviously completely sits outside the National Tutoring Programme, but as Jane mentioned, we would happily share the links that you know are in the public domain on the Department of Education website.
Okay, thank you for that, Rosemary. Thank you. Right, I don't know if anyone else have any questions to ask from the audience. Do we have more questions? Rosemary, if you can lower your hand, please.
Sorry.
I've shared the slides with you, Mujida, and all of our contact details are on there. So if anybody did want to reach out to us, you know, when offline, or if they've watched it on YouTube or on a recording, you know, please feel free to.
Sure, certainly. I've got Sister Shalewa. If you can unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Thank you for coming to deliver this. Mine is not a question, actually, it's a contribution.
Okay.
I'm glad that my children's school actually have tapped into this. And I know that one of the challenges they've had is getting people to sign up, which I couldn't believe it, because I think they got the first lot of funding and they kept advertising. They went on the 1 to 3 route, and they gave various subjects and different dates, yet they had difficulty in getting people to sign up. I couldn't believe it. So they're now they've got additional funding, so they're running into the summer too. So well done. That's just my contribution.
Right. Okay. Do you mean that the students weren't signing up for the tutoring?
No, the students weren't signing up.
Right.
That's what I couldn't believe. You know, is 3 pupils to 1 tutor, and you know they kept it open for a long time, and they say, well, we'll have to go to other year groups. We'll do this. We'll do that. I think that's one of the challenges that institution that I know of faced at the time. So maybe because parents might not be aware, so this kind of awareness program is good. Then I didn't even know it was coming from you. I just learned that they got a grant. So it's good that we know this now. We can share we can, further in the community, so that people should reach out or ask their school and then get their children to sign up their children, because they were doing it on Saturdays.
Yeah, absolutely. That's frustrating when it's there and a school is trying to support a pupil, and it does show as well how vital the support from the parent and carer is as well, that it's a holistic relationship in order for the tutoring to be a success between the program, the school, the pupil, and the parents or carer.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
All right. Thank you. So, okay, Rashida is putting her hand up again. So, Rashida, if you want to mute yourself, please.
So I'm sorry if this has been addressed before, maybe I missed it. But now the tutoring programs and the mentoring, does everything happen within the school hours, or are there arrangements for after school, or I don't know how it works?
Okay, it can be either. For the academic mentor, that will take place within school hours. The school will decide on what the setting will be for the highest learning outcome for that cohort of pupils, and we have to trust that the schools know their pupils best. We would encourage, where possible, that the tutoring does take place during school hours. But as students are physically in the school building, and you have more chance of higher attendance and engagement. But that said, other schools are running outside of school tutoring programs, equally successful, that are outside of the school. But as previously mentioned, that does need the support, buy-in, access to technology, in the home setting, for that tutoring to take place if looking at online. But it can be flexible. We don't mandate that it must be. We do leave that with the school to decide what's best for the pupils that they want, to access the tutoring that's available.
Thank you. That's another question I would like to ask you, Jane.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the school-led tutoring program that is ring-fenced at subsidy of 75%. So if a school doesn't use that subsidy, do you take it back at the end of the year, or what happens to that subsidy?
Yeah, if the school doesn't use the subsidy for this academic year, the DfE will claw that back and call it an overpayment. And that's it for this academic year. Next academic year, we know that all 3 routes are subsidised at 60%, but that's all we know. That's all the Department for Education have shared so far. So we are working tirelessly with schools, being creative to help them spend that money. Because if they can spend that money, and what the DfE have also added to the programme is that summer holiday interventions, summer schools can take place using that funding. So the schools have up until the 31st of August to spend that funding.
Great.
Yeah.
So does it decrease every year? Because I heard you say 60% for next year.
Absolutely. It's because we're a 4-year programme response. We're not a continual, never-ending stream of funding for schools. We are a specific 4-year COVID response programme for education. So yes, it will decrease. And what the DfE have confirmed recently is that next year all 3 routes will be 60%, which is still substantial savings, for schools, for the tutoring to take place. And in particular, the academic mentor, where they're already possibly paying a salary to someone who's already carrying out the role, it's still a 60% saving on the salary.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. Right. Does anyone have any questions or comments from the audience before we wrap it up for today? Any more comments, questions for Jane and her team? Okay. In the absence of none, I'm just gonna wrap it up by saying thank you so much for your presence here this evening. I think it's been an enlightening evening. You've been able to shed some more light about what's going on within the National Tutoring Program, which I am not aware of, and I'm sure some of us are not aware of as well. But the beauty of it today is we're going to put this recording on YouTube, and I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from that. And if we have any more questions or further questions or queries on the work of NTP, I will gladly forward that to you. I want to thank you so much for your presence, and Shona and Katie and Rosemary as well, for taking time this evening to be with us at the MCB. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence. And we
Thank
hope
you for having us.
you'll be able to come and deliver more overview of what's going on within the National Tutoring Program to us. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining in. Thank you. Good evening,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.